world and the spiritual world, I think like as far as our human knowledge goes, and Zach, you were talking about this earlier, how you use like science to debunk God or whatever, but like I think humans are extremely uh, egotistical creatures, and there's so much shit that we do not know, and people, anytime people can't question stuff scientifically, or people try to question everything scientifically, and that's the problem. We
Well,
can't.
scientifically, I would just describe, in my opinion, science is just logic. That's all it is. Like just logically answering something. Maybe just to give it a definition. But go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. Here's the thing about logic, like I love philosophy, and that's what made me lose my religion and stuff. But like I
Maybe
still,
this is my virginity.
oh, it's logical.
Mhm.
I'm a logical male of breeding age. She's a logical female of breeding age. Like in Terminator 3, right? It's just logical. Yeah, just fuck like bunnies, you know?
Make lots of babies.
But I think there's like more to what I mean, again, like it's kind of a paradox because I think the physical realm and spiritual realm are one and the same, but in terms of our like physical senses, like it would be like perceiving air compared to a solid, like you know what I mean? Like it's the same stuff, but it's like a different level. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like
What do you mean, like? So you're saying like, okay, well, the thing about physical properties is that you can characterize it because you can sense it, but the spiritual world is kind of like more difficult. So
can you? Here's the thing: can you sense all physical stuff? Like there's certain gases that you can't smell. It's undetectable to my
right,
senses.
the gas that what do you call that shit? Like the gas you put at home, they actually put smell to it because it's actually you can't smell it, right?
Yeah. There's certain stuff. There's certain stuff that's in the quote unquote physical world that you can't like sense.
Well, yeah,
And it's like
like all the other wavelengths of light we can't
But then
sense.
how
you know
how
what,
would
Zach? Thank you very much. That is exactly what I was trying to get at, and I forgot. That's a metaphor used all the time. Is like I think all of existence is like a wave, and you have like the 0 point. Like I think like the true where you want to be in the universe is like that 0 point as much as you can. Like the physical and the spiritual be like comparing like negative number to a positive number. Like it's the same distance away from the 0 point, but it's different on the scale. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're visualizing here. So, but if they're saying they're the same, how can they be two opposites but the same?
Well, it's like okay, again, it's like comparing like. All right, let me start over. I think all the universe is made of the same stuff. Like I wouldn't necessarily call it atoms. Maybe there's something even smaller than matter that we realize. And everything is made of the same. Like there's no differentiation. Like and then Zen, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Zen at all. It's like an Eastern philosophy. It's not a religion. It's just like it's like a way of life, but it's a philosophy. And now I'm getting lost in my own thoughts here. You see, it's all
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
It,
But
it's,
no,
it's
but Zen,
good stuff.
it is good stuff. It's good.
It's good. It's real good. Like, what are you saying?
I don't know. I just totally lost my track now. Isn't that crazy?
That happens to me
Yeah.
all the time. I try talking about like some deep idea, and then like I lose track because it's like so complicated. Plus, I have horrible.
No, I'm just
memory,
kidding, guys.
yeah,
I was basically talking about like Eastern philosophy and nothingness. How like I mean, a lot of Eastern ideals are paradoxes. It's like everything is nothing and nothing is everything. It's stuff. It's really hard to wrap your mind around. You gotta like if you've never taken a philosophy class, I highly recommend it. Like so much you can talk about, you just can't like describe it. It's like indescribable, and that's kind of what people talk about. Like God, like my view is I think it's called pantheism. It's basically you believe that God is everything, like I'm saying now, like everything's made of the same stuff. Because
right.
there's an old metaphor for religion, and people say God was like the clockmaker, who like he made the watch and walked away from it. But then when you talk about like that in philosophy, it's like all right, that would imply there's a limit to our universe, our galaxy, whatever.
Yeah.
So and a question my philosophy teacher asked once is all right, if there's a limit to the universe, what happens if you go to the edge of the universe and stick your hand out? You just like disappear. So basically, I believe that there's no limit to the universe. I think it's like infinite, doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an
Infinite
end.
space.
Infinite space, yeah, but the same terms that people use to describe God a lot of times, infinite, no beginning, no end, is the same thing people use to describe God. So for me, they're one and the same. When you're like a pantheist, you believe that God is everything. So God can't exist outside of itself. So if you believe in like Zen philosophy, you're taught this mindset of being one with everything. So if you're one with the universe, and you're also one with God. So not really religion per se, but you have like the sense of spirituality and being together with everything in your surroundings, without saying you believe in Mr. Jesus or Allah or
Yeah.
Mr. Jesus. I don't know why I keep saying Mr. Jesus.
Mr. Jesus.
Baby Jesus. I'm gonna call him Baby Jesus. That's what I'm gonna call him.
It's probably from Borat. Do Mr. Jesus love me?
Very nice. That's good stuff.
Well, I guess we can keep on getting pretty crazy. I know some interesting ideas, like how you were saying the Sumerian, how the Sumerians got their information from aliens per se.
They straight up say. I mean, that's the thing. They straight up say that shit. It's not even like a question. They say they came from people who came from the stars. Like they blatantly say that.
And they have like pictures and like pictures in stone and things. Like I've seen many things of that like on the History Channel and stuff. And like going from that, you have like people who think I don't know if I'm one of those people. Like I might be. I kind of feel like it's it makes pretty logical sense that like we here on Earth began from people who started us here, who are either from the future, all relatively, could be our kind, I don't know, and then people here could look at them and say, oh, that must be God because they brought us here, they started us, or there are a lot of things like that, but this being that I also believe that there are aliens out there. I mean, to understand that there are, I don't know if you want to say infinite, but there's so many more worlds and galaxies out there. It's hard to have to believe that there isn't some other kind of organisms, small or big, that can exist.
Well, and like, all right. Well, what's some other controversial topics? Like the whole alien thing is controversial for religious people, but like for me, again, I like my whole concept of the universe and everything being one. Is how I can still believe in God and still and also believe that aliens created people. Like, oh, you guys want to do a podcast about fucking aliens? Oh, I can tell you all about that shit. I've been studying this subject for years and years, watching shows, and and again, it's like one of those things you talk about, and people are like, oh, you believe in aliens? You're crazy, blah 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 blah.
Oh,
but
God.
Really, you believe in the invisible guy in the sky? And I don't want to say like that, like George Carlin. I don't want to bash people who are religious because, I mean, religion. I mean, here's other topics we can talk about: is what religion does people. Sometimes religion really does help people.
It does actually.
But then on the other side of that, like, again,
people kill people with religion.
Yeah, people kill each other for it, and I mean, there's so many different sides to religion. And the thing is, if you do believe in God, like, humans ruin it. Humans ruin a lot of things. Humans ruin like politics. Humans ruin so much shit in this world. Like, because Karl Marx had like a lot of good points too. He's saying that religion was used to control people, like kind of what Keith was saying earlier.
Right.
I mean, there's so many sides to things, and if you believe in God,
well,
like,
what happened was that it's more like humans take pure ideas. Like some people understand that you can take a pure idea and ruin it. Kind of like how humans take nature. My metaphor for it is like people take nature, beautiful nature that's just natural and grows its own essence, and they go into it, and instead of living with it and benefiting from it, they destroy it. They'll go to a nice clean field and put buildings on it, and that's what we do. Like we destroy things that are beautiful in a way. So when it comes to religion, let's say religion was like not just like about God, but like a union of people, and was like a group of people who just believed in something better, something higher. Well, then someone could take that pure thought, a human, a fellow man, can take that pure thought and use it to control people.
Yeah.
And like that's what happened over the years, is that religion stepped in and was like some really powerful religious, some real dickheads took religion and said they were a religious figure and used it to control people and get them to do things that they wanted to do to make themselves more powerful. Which was, when that happened, it was a decline in like the golden ages, like the highest, like, I don't know what you call it, but we talked about it. It's like in psychology class, because it took all our science and all our technology and pushed it back like 2,000 years.
What, religion?
Yeah, because religion came in And like if that religious time period of religion was controlling everything from politics to medicine to obviously church and spirituality and wars was all controlled by religion. If that didn't happen, we would be a lot more advanced in our technology now because of the
Yeah.
reset we had back then. And it was during that time period when they used to cut like barbers. The reason why the sign is red and white, if you didn't know, is because they used to actually cut people's heads open and drain blood from them because religion said that was how you
Oh,
get out
barbers.
bad
Yeah.
spirits. Yeah, barbers.
Well,
Like how.
all right, Keith. Now, all right, you can't blame. All right, I gotta cut you off right here. That that wasn't because of religion. That was just the science at the time. And the
No, that was but on because of religion.
well,
Like high religious figures said that's what had to be done. So that's what they did.
all right, well, all right. You gotta specify when you're talking about. Like medieval times when the church was in control of a lot of shit. All right, the church was what people looked to for not just like spiritual answers, but also like even scientific questions. I see you're saying a little bit how religion puts stuff back, but it's not just religion. It's the fact that at that time, religious leaders were also the political leaders, and they were also the ones in charge. So they were the ones getting knowledge about stuff. So like a lot of the scientists were also like priests or whatever, if you want to say, not priests, religious figures.
Yeah.
So that was just a science at the time. I mean, that doesn't mean that religion caused it. It just means that there was religious figures who were also the guys who were the doctors and this and that. Does that make sense? Like,
I understand what you're saying. But I'm saying I'm just saying that when religion seems to be in power, it seems when we go through the most shit. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? See what I'm getting at?
but there's
That-
that's not true though.
That's
See,
the relation though.
you gotta look back history. There was the Byzantine Empire when they became Christian, like they flourished big time. 'Cause
Well,
they,
what were they before that?
they were like pantheists, not pantheists, excuse me, polytheists. Like they believed in many gods. They believed in
Yeah.
the Roman gods. The Byzantines were the Romans. They were the Eastern Roman Empire. When the
Okay.
Western Empire fell,
So how did religion benefit them?
well, all right,
Because
because
they all changed to
now,
Christianity.
here's the thing. Now, see, we could talk about this like all night, and there's so many facets to religion. Like we're talking about controlling people and being used for this or that. But when Christianity first became accepted in the Roman Empire, it's because the empire was in chaos. The empire fell apart. I mean, that's when technology and stuff got backtracked. Is when the Roman Empire fell. Had nothing to do with religion. Religion actually it restored some stuff because it was the priests who were going back and keeping records of scientific records and historical records. Because all the barbarian invasions, Rome fell. People were in chaos. There's nothing but raids and stuff going all over the place.
Right.
There was no government, no army to help anybody. The only thing that was there that was like structured and organized, how people bring order back to their own lives, was like the churches. So, and here's the negative side of religion is that the political leaders, like the Roman emperors, are like, hey, I can use this to unite people. And even if there's people who really started to believe in religion, like Constantine, I don't know if you guys know the story of him. He was this Roman leader. There's a lot of civil wars going on between the Romans after the empire fell. There's people trying to restore the empire, and Constantine was, I guess you would call him a pagan.
Yeah.
That's what they call people who weren't Christians at the time. His wife was Christian. He wasn't. He had this vision about painting a cross onto a shield. All the soldiers painted the cross on the shield after he had this vision of a cross in the sky, and then he won this huge battle. It's one of those legendary stories.
I've heard the story.
Yeah, so basically, he realized that this religion can be this really motivational thing to make people unite.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, you have this story. If you even break
Yeah.
down that one story,
Yeah, but hold on a second here. Well, audio difficulties.
I think
well,
I think it
Yeah.
also has to do with just like, I mean, that story makes sense because I think when people have like a common ideal or idea that brings, we can all
Yeah,
work
but
together
On
knowing.
the same note, the fact that religion unifies people, but there can be a lot of things that do.
Yeah,
Look
no,
at
not
fear.
just religion.
Fear unifies
anything.
people. Like, yeah, anything can unify people. But I'm just talking like, what's the better motivational tool? Like, if you look at, I don't know, I guess I said fear. Like, you
Yeah.
instill fear in someone that makes them have motivation to do things. You shouldn't say like it's simple terms. Just like someone's gonna fucking die if they don't do this. So it's like that fear of dying. You do it. You know what I'm saying? So religion's like another way of just giving moral justification to something or giving someone the want to do something. Same thing as love. If you love someone, you would you would do anything for them. You would literally do anything for them. Like you would do something just so that person stays alive or just to help that person because you love them. See what I'm saying? There's tons of motivational tools. But what I'm arguing here is what has the better beneficent better is